ago. But also, you were finding that Christians were still going to the temple of Aphrodite, where they were sleeping with the temple prostitutes, because that was common in Corinthian culture. Also in Corinthian culture, it was very competitive in a number of ways, and where people used to look up to those who might have elegant speech or a decent education. So some of these ideas, they started to pollute and mash up with Corinthian church culture, where some of the Holy Spirit gifts, some of the more speaking gifts, like prophecy and tongues, started being treated more like these were the important ones that gave people a position of authority. And issues also came up where some people started treating the leadership like it was a popularity contest. So you would find some saying, I follow Apollos, or I follow Paul or Peter, or whatever it was. And so it was just creating more divisions and disunity in the Corinthian church there. As an aside, if I can just show the next picture, in 1 Corinthians 6 verse 1, Paul addresses people in the church suing each other because a lot of that was going on. And so I'll just like to point out that Tom sexually harasses me a number of times, but I can't seem to do anything about it. But the Corinthians, they were losing sight of the bigger picture. There was a lack of order. There was hypocrisy in the church. And the use of the gifts of the Holy Spirit was becoming more about them as individuals. Yeah. So what are spiritual gifts? Why do they exist in the church? And what is the evidence of the Spirit's life in a person? Now, there are a number of gifts given by the Holy Spirit in the Bible, and some people have kind of categorized them. And so if I can pull it up on the screen there, actually. So in Ephesians 4, first of all, it talks about what we would call the ministry gifts. That's the giftings of apostles, prophets, pastors and teachers, etc. And in Romans 12, some people call these the motivational gifts of prophesying, serving, teaching and encouraging and so on. And then in 1 Corinthians 12, just before this, it talks about the manifestation of the Holy Spirit gifts, or that's what people call them. And that's mainly what we're going to be kind of concentrating on a little bit today. And this is gifts of wisdom or words of knowledge and prophecy, miraculous powers, gifts of healing and tongues, etc. He then chooses a rough, messed up bunch of misfits to be his disciples. You know, these guys couldn't be more different from each other. You know, some of them wouldn't have been allowed in the temple. You know, one of them was a terrorist. They were argumentative. One of them certainly knew how to use a shank. So most of them, we wouldn't naturally choose to be disciples together and to take the gospel out to the nations. But through the Holy Spirit, again, Jesus gathered this bunch and he nurtured this rough bunch of fellas, and that mustard seed of the gospel has grown throughout the world, where today we've got something like 2.6 billion Christians. That's before any other time. Right now, we've got about 2.6 billion Christians, and that's because Jesus, led by the Holy Spirit, chooses this bunch of fellas there. Finally, Jesus was led by the Holy Spirit to be obedient to his Father, which ultimately led to his death on the cross. So this was radical Holy Spirit living from beginning to end.
God just has prepared a whole load of timber at the side, and it's all dry, and it's just so dry that as soon as the Lord brings it over to you, it just all catches alight, and there's this like massive fire. And I just want, I feel like God's saying that if there's anyone who, if you're that person that feels like that light's about to go out, to keep pushing into the Lord, like he has this prepared for you, all this dry timber that will alight, and that you will really become ablaze and really shine brightly for him as you seek him in just that light that you've got, and hold on to that, and he'll come and do the rest as you lean into him and turn to him.
When we're seeking through God here, I just kept having that feeling of, well, this morning I put the telly on and something came up and it reminded me of my mum, and in this scene it was something that my mum would have done, and it probably wasn't the best choice in life. My mum just didn't do things the best way, but I just had this feeling that someone had mother issues here, and it is affecting their walk with God or with Jesus. It's what it felt in as we was praying and seeking God. And if anyone feels that way, come to me for prayer, or come to Evans or any of the elders. They will pray for you and help you to move forward from it.
Kind of saw, like, you know, like crime scenes when they have like the blue light thingy. It's kind of, you've cleaned up good for human eyes, but God's got the blue light thing and can see all the mess, and you're hiding it. You're good at hiding it, but like he wants to clean it up. He wants to clean it up with better than bleach. Like it will go. Yeah.
I just got a sense that God was just saying too that there might be some people here and they feel like, I don't know what any of this means. Like, who is Holy Spirit? What is that? And I just felt like God really wanted you to know that there's a God in heaven who knows your name, who is calling your name today. And he's saying, you are mine, you are my child, and I love you more than anybody else ever could. I've known you before the beginning of time, and I will know you forever. And I feel like he's calling your name this morning, and he wants to say, give your life to me, because I am the way, the truth, and the life, and there is no other way. Jesus is the only way to the Father. He is the only way, and this world offers us promises that cannot stand. Yeah, the promises that break over and over again, but God is saying, I offer you a promise that stands for eternity. And it's the promise is me. I offer you all that I am, and I want to give it all to you. And that's the gospel, guys. That's the gospel. Is a God that loves you so much, that says, my one and my only son, my son who I love with every beat of my heart, I'm sending him to this broken world, this world that will beat him to death, this world that will sacrifice him on a cross. And I'm going to let that happen because I love you. And you mean everything to me. And it's because of that. Because he died on that cross, and it wasn't the end. Because 3 days later he rose again and he conquered death. He conquered all of death. He conquered and victoriously conquered it. Forever. It wasn't just for a moment. It's forever. And because of that, we can have a relationship with God. You know, so many other religions, they teach us, do this, do that. If you can make enough things, you can come to God. You can come close to him. If you're good enough, you can come close to him. And God says, I'm not like that. Because there's nothing that we can do to make ourselves good enough for God. So he says, instead, I'm coming to you. And I'm going to offer everything so that Jesus stood in our place. He took everything, all the punishment for every sin that we've made. And he says, today I can wash you clean for eternity. For eternity. You don't need to do all these good things to try and get to me. I've done it. It's done. What I need you and want you to do is to say, I'm yours. Have my life, Jesus. I'm yours.
I want to give a time to respond to those words that have been brought, but also I just want to respect the fact that actually the kids' workers, they've been doing a great job out there. And if you do need to go and collect your kids, I want to encourage you to do that. We're going to draw it to a close now, but actually, I just want to encourage you that if any of those words have spoken to you personally, I just want to encourage you to come forward, and if the worship band can carry on playing actually, and those who are leaders of different functions going on there, I want to encourage you to actually just lay hands on these guys and pray for them. So please, as we carry on, if we lead us into our time of worship here, if you need to go and collect your kids, please do that. If you feel you need to respond to any of those words that were brought, I just want to encourage you please to come forward to the front. And those that are leaders of different teams now, please lay hands on these guys and pray for them.